Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Could I ask you all to please rise for the processional and then remain standing for the national anthem led by our own Professor Helen Jenkins. Thank you, Helen. I now invite you to the podium Reverend Tim Eden of St. Mary's University, who will lead our invocation. Please remain standing.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us pray. We pray, O Lord, that you will be with us on this day of new beginnings and throughout the years. Not a day goes by that does not remind us of how great a blessing the rule of law is for our community and our nation. And not a day goes by that does not warn us of how fragile that gift can be and how much suffering endures and follows when it is broken. And so, O Lord, we must pray for the men and women who bear the responsibility of educating new generations of lawyers. We pray for their integrity and for their dedication to learning and for their hunger for justice, and for their service of the common good. May these be the heritage of their profession that they pass on to their students. Today especially, we pray for President Michael Berry, a new leader of this institution. Grant him vision and an unerring desire for the good of this community of learning and of each of its members, for students and for faculty and for staff. Strengthen him for the hard work ahead, and always, Lord, let him be conscious of your presence and your love in his life and in his work. And we ask all of this as your sons and daughters. Amen. Amen.
Please be seated. So, Board of Directors of South Texas College of Law, Houston, faculty, students, and staff, distinguished guests, alumni, friends of the law school, it's my honor and privilege to welcome you to the investiture of our 11th President and Dean, Michael F. Berry, and to provide you greetings from the faculty. I'm John Worley. I'm Vice President and Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. So investiture of a new President and Dean is an important event in the life of any academic institution. It's the formal ceremony conferring authority and the symbols of office on an institution's new leader. Investiture is among the oldest observances in academia, one where colleges and universities have an opportunity to honor their traditions, usher in a new era, and celebrate the pursuit of learning. Here at South Texas College of Law, our mission is to provide a diverse body of students with the opportunity to obtain an exceptional legal education, preparing our graduates to serve their community and their profession with distinction. This mission embodies 4 features that I think are important: excellence, opportunity, diversity, and service. Let me just briefly mention some of the accomplishments of the law school relative to each of these principles. So first, consider excellence. For many people, the achievements of the law school's advocacy program will come first to mind, and for good reason. South Texas has won 131 national advocacy championships, twice as many as any other law school. It's only one of 3 law schools in the country, consistently ranked in the top 10 for trial advocacy by U.S. News and World Report. The Blakely Institute has ranked the advocacy program as #1 in the country, and Pre-Law magazine has called the advocacy program the best in moot court in the decade. But we shouldn't let the accomplishments of our stellar advocacy program obscure the law school's other achievements. So let me just mention a couple. Students from our Frank Evans Center for Conflict Resolution have won 19 national and international alternative dispute resolution competitions just over the last 5 years. And Pre-Law magazine has named the law school a top law school for ADR. The law school's legal research and writing program is ranked 25th in the nation, according to U.S. News and World Report. And South Texas students have won 5 first-place awards in the American Society of Legal Writers, Scribes, Appellate Brief Writing Competition, and no other law school has placed first more than once. Since 2003, Scribes has conferred a total of 39 first, second, and third place awards, and South Texas students have won almost a third of them. The Transactional Law Practice Center offers students an opportunity to earn a certificate in business transactional practice, one of the first 2 programs of its kind in the nation. The Harry L. Reid Oil and Gas Law Institute prepares students for practice in the competitive energy industry by offering an oil and gas law curriculum that's second to none. Our Institute for International Legal Practice and National Security provides students with a practical, real-world legal education while contributing legal scholarship in international economic law, national security, and counterterrorism law. South Texas graduates have an ultimate bar pass rate of just under 90%. According to the ABA, that puts our graduates at about the median of law schools around the country and well above such nationally ranked schools as the University of Southern California and the University of Iowa. But I'd be remiss if I failed to mention our faculty. Not only are they committed to excellence in teaching, they've also published national case books and texts, comprehensive legal treatises, and books from major commercial and university presses. Within the past 5 years, South Texas faculty have published articles in 15 of the top 50 law journals and 36 of the top 100. The second pillar of our mission is opportunity. So leading lawyers and judges founded the law school in 1923 in order to give working men and women an opportunity to study law. The market for part-time legal education has contracted over the past decade, and many law schools have closed their part-time programs. But South Texas College of Law remains committed to providing an opportunity to students to attend part-time, and we're proud of our part-time students who still comprise about a quarter of the student body. South Texas also strives to provide opportunity to obtain a legal education by maintaining tuition as low as possible. Tuition at South Texas is among the lowest in the nation's 118 private law schools, and the National Jurist magazine has named South Texas a best value private law school. Moreover, 88% of our students receive some form of grant or scholarship aid. The third pillar of the mission is diversity. The law school's first entering class had only 34 students, but of those 34, 8 were women. In this 2019 fall entering class, women now comprise 54% of the new students. We're also situated in Houston, often called the most diverse city in the nation, and the law school seeks to reflect that diversity. In the fall 2019 class, 48% of students identify themselves as members of some racial or ethnic minority group. But factual diversity is not enough, because South Texas also prides itself as being a community of respect and expects that its faculty, staff, and students will be guided by a commitment to treating others with civility, dignity, and respect. And the final foundation of the school's mission is service. Here at the law school, the Randall O. Sorrells Legal Clinics comprise 23 distinct specialized legal clinics, more than any other Texas law school. In these clinics, students refine their legal knowledge and skills by representing underserved Houston residents. And each year, South Texas students provide more than 35,000 hours of free legal services to clients, services having a market value of about $1.8 million. But that commitment to service doesn't stop with graduation. Our alumni also reflect that commitment. To mention just a few, 2 of our alums are current members of the Texas Supreme Court. One is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, The current Harris County DA, as well as the Chief Public Defender of Harris County, are South Texas alums. Randy Sorrells is president of the State Bar of Texas, and Benny Agosto is president of the Houston Bar Association, and we're proud to have both of them here today as members of our platform party. Last year's commencement speaker, Derek Johnson, is the president and CEO of the NAACP. So, Dean Barry, the faculty of South Texas College of Law Houston are proud of these and many other accomplishments, but we know that the future presents challenges. Both the market for legal services and the economics of law practice are changing, and law schools are going to have to adapt if they're going to be successful in teaching students the knowledge, skills, and values needed for law practice, and if we are to prepare them to be successful, responsible members of the legal profession. But we, the faculty, are ready and eager to join with you in meeting those challenges. So, Dean Barry, welcome to South Texas College of Law Houston. Congratulations on your appointment as its 11th president and dean. So now, let's do great things together. Thank you. Now let's welcome to the podium the president of the Student Bar Association, Jensen, who will offer greetings from our students. Aaron?
Good afternoon. It is a great honor to stand before you today as a representative of the student body and formally welcome Dean Barry to South Texas College of Law, Houston. Dean Barry has brought to these first few months an eagerness to learn and to engage with the student community, which is essential to understanding what makes this place thrive. We are a vibrant, diverse, and active student body, all of which Dean Barry has not only acknowledged, but has celebrated with us. From the start, he has proactively made himself available to students and has demonstrated that he is genuinely committed to seeing us as individuals and as a community be the best that we can be. I personally have witnessed several instances that demonstrate the impact that Dean Barry has already had on this community. Just over a month ago, this community was heavily impacted by instances of flash flooding brought on by Tropical Storm Imelda. Despite the official campus closure around noon, Dean Barry did not leave the school until he knew that every student that had remained had a plan to get home safely. This kept him on campus until well into the evening, and which is a true testament to his concern for not only our academic achievements, but for our genuine well-being. More recently, Dean Barry, alongside a group of incredible faculty members, spent their weekend volunteering with a nonprofit organization that focuses on disaster resilience and recovery. They assisted with the repairing of the home of an individual who was impacted by Hurricane Harvey in 2017. And I learned of this instance after running into Dean Barry at a meeting for a bar preparation that Saturday. And it truly resonated with me that he spent the early mornings of the day volunteering and then took a break to come to campus to be available for the third-year students who are attending the session. Dean Barry, on behalf of the student body, I thank you for your presence on campus. We are grateful for your willingness to engage with us and to collaborate with us, and for your commitment to us. You have shown to be a great partner to this community, and your enthusiasm for South Texas College of Law Houston is truly appreciated. We are excited to be joined by you as students and as an institution as we boldly move into the future. Dean Barry, welcome to South Texas College of Law Houston. Now I invite to the podium Randy Sorrells, class of 1987 and president of the State Bar of Texas, and Benny Agosto, class of 1995 and president of the Houston Bar Association, who will deliver salutations on behalf of the alumni community and the profession. Thanks.
Good afternoon, all. I would like to formally welcome Dean Michael Barry to the Houston Bar Association and to Houston. I am honored to be here in this wonderful day of history, not only for Houston, but for the law school. Passionate, hardworking, innovative, dedicated, and committed. full of new ideas. All these words describe Dean Michael Berry to the T. They are all certainly true and accurate. However, the words that seem perfect for me as an alumni are president, dean, leader. As president of the Houston Bar Association and as a proud alumni of South Texas College of Law, and mind you, the dad of a 2L, I won't mention his name so he won't get mad at me, but his last name is Augusto. I could not be more proud to welcome Dean Berry to Houston and to our law school, the oldest Houston law school, South Texas College of Law, Houston. This year, I am honored to serve as president of the Houston Bar Association. In 2019, we are celebrating some special accomplishments. This year marks the 150 years anniversary of the first woman attorney ever admitted to the Bar Association, to a bar association in the United States. The Houston Bar this year was honored to give out its first ever top female award to an attorney in Houston, an award that we'll be giving out every year from now on, and honored its namesake, Justice Ruby K. Slondock. The HBA is celebrating also its fabulous diversity. We have planned and are delivering many new programs and opportunities for Houston lawyers. Very important, and especially for our Houston law schools and students. This year, the Houston Bar Association is celebrating and focusing on leadership and leadership training. We're going to be establishing an HBA Law Student Division Leadership Council. And this council will give law students the opportunity for leadership and mentoring, as well as great networking for 3Ls as they get ready to go on into the practice of law. I've already met with the dean and the other deans, and we're well on our way to bring that to fruition to help our students and give them more leadership and leadership opportunity. This gives me the great pleasure and opportunity to welcome and congratulate you, Dean, on behalf of the Houston Bar Association and its over 11,000 members. We welcome you and we say Godspeed and God bless. Congratulations and much continued success.
I get to follow Benny today. Some of you know this. I was a sophomore at HBU playing soccer when Benny came and followed me at HBU, played goalie for our soccer team. So it's great to see Benny taking this leadership role. I come to you today, though, as president of the State Bar Association. I have to be objective. There are 10 law schools in Texas. South Texas is just one. I don't come to you as a proud graduate of South Texas College of Law, someone who was part of the law review or part of the advocacy program. I don't come to you as someone who, as one Houstonian says, literally loves this law school. I don't come to you as someone who's on the board of directors at South Texas College of Law. So I come to you objectively. Objectively, there's not a better dean in Texas than Dean Michael Berry. Many of you know this. He's associated himself with pretty good educational institutions, the University of Virginia, undergraduate with English and religious studies, University of San Francisco, master's in theology, Yale Law School. It's a pretty good pedigree he brings to South Texas College of Law. There's 103,000 lawyers in the state of Texas that I represent. Not very often, deans of law schools are a member of that State Bar of Texas. Dean Michael Berry is a member of the State Bar of Texas as well. So we with the state State Bar look forward to working with you, Dean, to making South Texas a great institution, greater than it is today. And if there's anything the State Bar of Texas can do for you or for this law school, we stand ready to serve. Congratulations. Welcome to the South Texas College of Law, Houston, Dean Berry. Now, if I could invite your friend and our class of 79 graduate, Bill Ford, to the podium to give a few remarks on behalf of your relationship with Dean Berry and as an alumni.
Thank you, Randy. It's a pleasure to be here to say a few kind words about my friend Mike Berry. Before I start, I have to reminisce a bit about myself. This will be the third momentous occasion I've had in this very auditorium. When I was a law student in 1977, I was successful in moot court in this auditorium. And then I took the bar exam here, and thank goodness I was successful then. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today. And now we get to honor you, Mike. Much deserved. You're the most appropriate person that could ever be in this spot, and I'm humbled and honored that you would ask me to say things on your behalf. We've known each other for 15 years. It's been a fabulous friendship that I'll kind of tell you some things about as I go through this. But we've known each other as colleagues, client, lawyer. He's been instrumental in my family. I'll touch on that again in a moment. And I assure you, from every perspective I know of Dean Mike Berry, he is the right person to lead this institution into a new chapter in the future. It's great things are going to happen here because of the dean. But I first want to say on behalf of the old people, my class of '79, I laughed with my daughter who is here. I walked around and looked, and I'm so old that when I won moot court, I guess they didn't have photographs. We're not on the wall. But to the Board of Trustees and the faculty, truly, from the old people, heartfelt thanks for selecting Dean Berry as the successor. There's been fabulous leadership in the school, all the way back to my dean, Garland Walker. But you, the trustees, have now set the school on a new path, a new day, an exciting new chapter in the evolving footprint of South Texas College of Law in what I consider to be the national discussion of legal education. It's been discussed by the associate dean of all the victories and winnings and the positive things the school does, and that expands your exposure and footprint and awareness around the country, and I predict those things will only grow and improve. In your choosing of Dean Berry, you've chosen a man of unparalleled integrity, deep faith, unmeasured compassion for those around him, incredible energy. Beware of his energy. He can wear you out. He's the ultimate family man. He has an unwavering commitment to his lovely wife, Lee, and his girls that are here. Extended family is here with Mike. I hope everyone gets a chance to meet them while we're here. But the biggest benefit, the greatest benefit this college will have from Mike Berry is his boundless energy and drive for the projects and passions of his life. I warn you, be careful. You have just become that passion and that project. When Dean Berry gets energized about something, it is difficult to keep up with him. He has enthusiasm and energy beyond anything I've ever experienced. It was just touched on briefly by Randy about his academic pursuits, and I won't cover that, or his academic backgrounds. I won't cover that in much more detail. As Randy said, it correctly said, he did go to UVA. He left out what I think is an important detail, that Mike was a member of Phi Beta Kappa and graduated with distinctions there with a degree in English and religious studies. I learned as his lawyer when he worked at USAA and I was the lawyer and he was the client. You must be very careful when you submit something to Mike Berry. He will find the missing comma or spelling or word choice. I also learned you don't want to have a religious or theological debate with him. He is he's well schooled. After that fabulous education, he went to Yale, got his Juris Doctorate there, of course, and also served on the Yale Law Journal and the Yale Law Review and Law and Policy Review Board. Not yet satisfied that he knew everything in the world there was to know, Mike then went on to get a Master of Arts in Theology from the University of San Francisco in 2009. Again, I emphasize, don't try to win a theological debate with a guy with a Master's of Arts in Theology. Mike then had the pleasure of serving for two of our finest federal jurists in clerkship positions, one Royce Lamberth in Washington, D.C. at the district court level, and then finally with Chief Judge Joe Flott in the 11th Circuit in Florida. I've met Judge Joe Flott at a recent event where Mike was present, and the compliments and comments from judge to former clerk were just fascinating to me, the high regard that he holds him in, and justifiably so. Mike's also had a fabulous legal career, Began practicing law in Phoenix with a fine firm there for a number of years, then joined corporate America with the Bank of Capital One in Richmond, Virginia, where he became assistant general counsel. Then we in San Antonio, I'm from San Antonio, we had the good fortune of having the Berry family come to San Antonio when he joined USAA as an associate general counsel. He moved within USAA in a variety of positions, becoming the deputy general counsel, I think was the correct name, was there for about 12 years. They, in fact, created a whole new position for Mike, recognizing his fabulous skill set of developing and motivating people. They created a new function for him at USA to fulfill that role. My path crossed with him the most when he was in the general counsel's office, and that's where we worked on some interesting cases together. I'm going to touch on one of those in a moment. After Mike had had enough of corporate America, and I can understand that, he returned to his academic roots and his passion in life, which I would summarize for Mike Berry as being literally, quite literally, educating and assisting other people. Throughout the Berry's time in San Antonio, our city benefited from their commitment through volunteer work and leadership in our community. The Berry family touched everything from the Children's Museum to the Alamo Area College Foundation, and always, Mike and his family worked in their parish and the larger group of the Archdiocese of San Antonio. Faith and devotion to his faith community are fundamental concept in Dean Mike Berry's life. He then turned his focus to St. Mary's University School of Law, where his official title ultimately elevated to Assistant Dean and Practitioner in Residence. His contributions at St. Mary's to the student body and the faculty and the general community at large were quite significant. And candidly, I selfishly must tell you, had great personal impact on me. My daughter is here with me today, and I hope you get a chance to meet her. She had the benefit of being a mentee under Mike as her mentor. And I didn't share this with you, Dean Berry, but she successfully got bar results today. We have a new lawyer in the Ford family, my daughter. I say this quite sincerely, and I know it will be true for so many students that come through this school. The impact Mike had on my daughter and her law school process and commitment to it and enjoying that process was immeasurable. It comes about because of your personality, your commitment, your energy, and I know you will share that with other students to come. For that, they will always be grateful. Dean Berry is a leader, a visionary, a fabulous communicator of ideas and enthusiasm. I like to say there are those in the world who make life better and those that don't. He simply makes life better to all that surround him. In the old sports analogy, there are always those that make the team play better. Admittedly, great athletes are great, but when they make the people around them even better, that's when they're truly wonderful people. Mike is great in his own right, but he makes all that are around him better. He elevates everyone's game to his level. He makes the project better, the team better, the program better, everything he touches, in part because of his extraordinarily high expectations for everyone. He is a stern taskmaster. He has high expectations, but the great thing, in fairness of Mike, he expects no more from anyone than he expects from himself. He demands excellence because he gives excellence. But he does it in an appropriate, non-egocentric, self-centered way. He is about the collective we, not the I. He's a selfless supporter of others. One of the most fascinating things about Dean Berry, and he started his tenure, my first connection with him in his official capacity came through this listening tour. And it was representative to me of my first interaction with the dean when he was then just Mike. He was working at USAA, and I represented USAA in what was an extraordinarily contentious case where another major corporation had allegedly, I can't say with certainty, but you never bring up a case that didn't turn out your way, allegedly wrongfully accessed confidential information of USAA people. And that case, before Mike got there, we had literally discovered this case till the world was flat. We had thought about every thought, angle, considered what we had done, what we would do, where we were going, how we got there. It was a full-time job for everyone in my law firm, literally. We put the entire law firm on this single case. It was a career case for us. And I don't know if anyone has ever had the privilege, as I did then and still do, of representing companies that are run by a bunch of four-star retired generals, but they don't negotiate, they take prisoners. They don't settle, they demand surrender. So with this case was just, it was legendary to all of us. And the first time Mike shows up for a meeting, we're in this room in the CEO's executive suites where, you know, you get your best blue suit and your best red tie, and you show up. And on that occasion, Dean Barry actually wore his shoes, which he didn't always do after that. He's known for that. But we're in this meeting, and everyone is sharing ideas and thinking about things and exchanging and back and forth. And what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And there sits this new guy who is the youngest guy in the room who didn't even know the problem existed until he walked into the room. And he sat there and quietly listened to all of us. And as great leaders do, and he is a great leader, and I learned it in this moment, he absorbed everything we had to offer. And then when asked, he quietly said, well, have you considered the following? And in that moment, I felt very unintelligent because everything he was proposing, it was brilliant. I mean, I knew in that instant that Mike Barry was the real deal. He was an honest broker of information. He was not there to self-aggrandize or promote himself. He was there to promote the effort and the cause, and did so in a way that was truly, truly unique. So that ties into when Dean Barry, in my mind, when Dean Barry first came to San Antonio, he had his listening tour. And I thought, what a fabulous expression of who he is as a person. He is wanting to listen to and hear from us, from people that might have ideas or thoughts about how to continue to improve this institution. And it's done such fabulous things since I was here 40 years ago, but to continue to make it better and improve, he was willing and wanting to hear ideas from us, and I have every confidence that those ideas that were given to him, that he will take and continue to work for the benefit of the university. I also commit this to Dean Barry, and I did when he was there. We have not done well in San Antonio in the hinterlands of the alumni group of South Texas College of Law, and I promise you we will do better. Under your leadership, we're going to become active and do better. I commit to that. Finally, I sort of close with these thoughts about our new dean. You know, when you get older and you consider the things that are important in your life, and you come back to center of your life and what is important to you, you clarify places and opportunities that were the best and most impactful in your own life. This place is one of those, certainly for me, and I know it is for many people in this room. The great news to me is that it will continue to be that and continue to grow under the new leadership of our new dean. And it just resonates with me. I said earlier my dean was Dean Garland Walker, and we all think of our dean as the one who was dean when we were here. But I like the idea that now my dean is Dean Mike Barry. I'm confident he'll build upon the great heritage of this institution and enhance the honor and prestige the institution has enjoyed. Dean Barry, do it well and long. I may have a grandchild or two to send your way to entrust to you as I did my daughter at St. Mary's. They're small, so you need to be here a while. It's my true pleasure to have been here on your behalf, and now we're here to honor you and have you sworn in. So with no further comment or ado, I would like to welcome back to the podium Ken Johnson, who is here, and you for the induction of your oath of office. Dean Barry.
Thank you, Bill. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Directors of South Texas College of Law, I echo the sentiments of all those that have spoken today. 18 months ago, the President and Dean search started with high hopes. Everyone involved was determined to find the right person to lead our law school into its second century of service. We were looking for the perfect blend of talent, skills, and experience. Frankly, we looked for a leader that would understand our mission, someone that would engage with the great community that we call home, and someone that would fully embrace the duty to serve our students and the faculty. We found all of those important characteristics in Dean Barry and much more. Today, it is my honor to formally welcome Dean Barry into the South Texas College of Law Houston family and administer his oath of office. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you should know that an oath of office is not always included in this type of academic ceremony. However, Dean Barry wishes to publicly acknowledge his promise to the law school and commitment to service leadership as our new president and dean. Dean Barry's niece and goddaughter, Elise Javier Barry, is going to help us with this process. If you would come forward, please. Got it? All right, right there. Dean Barry, if you would join us. Please repeat after me. I, Michael F. Barry.
I, Michael F. Barry.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will execute my duties as President and Dean.
That I will execute my duties as President and Dean.
Of South Texas College of Law, Houston.
Of South Texas College of Law, Houston.
With integrity and optimism.
With integrity and optimism.
Dedication and inclusivity.
Dedication and inclusivity.
Professionalism and care.
Professionalism and care.
And I will do the best of my ability.
And I will do the best of my ability.
To honor, preserve, and advance the law school's mission.
To honor, preserve, and advance the law school's mission.
To provide a diverse body of students.
To provide a diverse body of students.
With the opportunity to obtain.
With the opportunity to obtain.
An exceptional legal education.
An exceptional legal education.
Preparing graduates to serve.
Preparing graduates to serve.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Directors of this law school, I confer upon you the title of President and Dean of South Texas College of Law, Houston, and all the rights and responsibilities associated with those positions of leadership. It is my honor and privilege to present you with the Dean's Medal, a symbol of academic and professional distinction, and the authority of the positions of leadership which you now hold. Congratulations. Got it?
Thank you.
You bet. Welcome, President and Dean Michael Barry.
Good afternoon, and welcome to South Texas College of Law, Houston. My wife, Lee, my daughters, Kate and Elizabeth, my mom, all of our family and friends, thank all of the South Texas community and all of the folks who worked so hard today. I thank all of you for being part of this day as well. And I thank you for your presence this afternoon. Today is about the South Texas community, the South Texas family. It's about you. It's about your passion for this law school, your support throughout the decades, your dedication to our past, current, and future students. South Texas College of Law Houston is community. It's the attraction of our unique and welcoming culture. It's the loyalty of our outstanding alumni, the excellence of our innovative faculty, and the commitment of our hardworking staff. Each of these integral factors of this South Texas equation exists for one purpose: the ultimate success of our students. Well before I joined South Texas, I was aware of the law school's reputation for excellence in higher education. I was respectful of the enduring leadership of its founders and the past and present deans, faculty, and administrators. I was impressed by the school's reputation as a powerhouse for advocacy, for ADR, legal writing, clinical training. And I was inspired by the proven pedagogy, the professional expertise, and the hands-on dedication of our faculty. But what I didn't really understand until I got here was the intangible sense of community that I would find. It's referred to often as the South Texas difference. And what is that difference? Shortly after I arrived here, I met with several folks, and we tried to boil down what are the attributes of that South Texas difference. And we arrived on three: excellence, opportunity, and community. These three words personify that difference. They condense our exceptional mission into a mantra that we can share. In fact, our mission is the reason we exist. And we talk about this difference. It's palpable. It's something we can feel, something we can understand, something we know. And it comes from that passion, that excellence, that dedication that so many demonstrate. Those who teach here, those who study here, and those who support our efforts here. And looking into this audience, I see the students, the alumni, the faculty, the staff, the board members, the friends of the law school. I see those people who make up the South Texas difference. The invitation to the ceremony today reads, "The Investiture of Michael F. Berry." But this is not a day about me. Quite to the contrary. Today is a day when we confirm the nearly 100-year-long role South Texas has enjoyed as a leader in higher education. This is a day about the school, about the community that creates this school, those who support the school, and so many who benefit from the school. Today is the celebration of our collective community excellence. Today is a day about what South Texas has been, is, and must continue to be for future generations of South Texas graduates. Just as our predecessors very carefully laid the foundation for a future in 1923 when they envisioned South Texas College of Law, we too daily have an opportunity to choose what our legacy is going to be. And I'll choose a quick story about my dad that exemplifies this. In 1984, my father, at that point Captain Kevin J. Berry, was a career attorney in the United States Coast Guard. He didn't realize it, but he stood at a make-or-break moment. At the time, he was the East Coast military judge for the Coast Guard. They had not, however, filled the West Coast military judge billet, which meant Dad was the judge for the Coast Guard. And while overseeing a court-martial, he saw a situation that was untenably awry. You see, the convening authority, the person who was recommending that charges be brought, that a court-martial be held against a member of the Coast Guard, oversaw the entire legal office. That meant he oversaw the prosecutor, but he also oversaw the defense attorney. And as a result, that defense attorney was placed in a very difficult situation. For the prosecuting attorney, there was no problem. His boss wanted a conviction. He worked zealously to try to obtain a conviction. But for the defense attorney, his boss, the person who would write his performance review at the end of the year, wanted a conviction. And he had to make the decision, do I zealously defend and potentially put my career at risk, or do I let things slip? This was, if you think about our civilian, Kim Og, one of our graduates, is the district attorney. It would be as if she were overseeing the public defender's office as well. Ultimately, Dad concluded that this system itself created an inherent conflict of interest, and he ruled that way. This did not go well with Coast Guard leadership. Dad put constitutional values ahead of what they thought was an efficient system, and in so doing put his career in jeopardy. Years later, at his funeral at Arlington National Cemetery, his former colleagues spoke about the price that Dad had paid, being removed from the list of being promoted to admiral. They spoke as well about the courage that he showed standing up to do what was right, and more importantly, about the lasting change he had created in the Coast Guard. My dad knew, more important than any individual or any individual case, is the good we leave behind for future generations. All of this brought to mind as I was preparing for today what is known as the seventh generation principles, which highlight the importance of living with a future mindset. These principles represent a shared understanding, a North Star, if you will, among several Native American tribes. The principles are based on an ancient Iroquois philosophy that the decisions we make today should reverberate positively for 7 generations into the future. These principles should be a guide to a leader's actions, that the actions we take today should have an ever-present view towards tomorrow's success. According to this transition, we are connected to a community, a strong community that transcends time. This foundational truth is passed along from generation to generation. Leaders understand they do not exist for themselves. Rather, the hard work and the seeds that they plant today will be harvested and benefit countless future family members. Rick Hill Sr. is a member of the Haudensee tribe. He described the 7th generation principles this way: we are connected to the first Indians who walked on this earth, but we're also connected to those Indians who aren't even born yet. And our job in the middle is to bridge the gap. We inherit a duty. We inherit a responsibility. And this recognition leads us to another important truth. Our role is temporary. It's ephemeral. We have a privilege and a responsibility to best shepherd the time and the resources we are given, knowing that our contribution, if it is done right, will long reverberate positively. Thus, a chief's role, a leader's role, is not about himself. It's not about his title, his glory, his legacy. Rather, to ensure that the community survives and thrives, the leader's concerns are broader. They are outwardly focused. They focus on the collective good. And this 96-year-old law school is just the result of such wisdom and collective thinking. There's a great and necessary humility in recognizing that I inhabit this role only for a brief period of time. It helps me realize that when we apply these principles today, we understand implicitly that we must concurrently hold the past, the present, and the future of South Texas in our collective consciousness. We who are the South Texas difference, all of us come here to make a difference in our brief tenure. We must build on the strong foundations and success on our inheritance from our predecessors. And then we contribute our part that propels this college forward for those who will walk after us. Following the examples of past leaders, deans, yes, as well as faculty, alumni, administrators, students, staff, our collective job is to carry this responsibility until we too pass it down. We are all responsible for the future direction of this law school, and we will benefit collectively from our unwavering focus on student success. As I reflect on the role that I'm now undertaking, I identify two key responsibilities of the president and dean, and of all of us who care about this law school. Responsibility number one is to ensure that the students who come through these doors obtain the best, most practical, cost-effective education we can provide to prepare them so that they will be the leaders who serve their clients and our community well. And responsibility two, just as sacred, is to lay a foundation for success and for permanence to ensure that 7 generations from now, the school is even more successful than it is today. One of our great challenges in this pursuit is to successfully walk the line between pride and complacency, between satisfaction and striving, between the status quo and innovation. There is a tremendous and justifiable pride we all carry in South Texas's rich heritage. This is the school that could, that punches above its weight. Many think we shouldn't be here because private and independent schools have gone away. And yet here we are, private and independent since 1923. And we should be proud. But that said, we rest on pride to our great peril. Legal education is changing, and we must change too. If we don't rethink legal education, we risk being left behind and becoming irrelevant. There is technological change, demographic wave, ethnographic waves, cost of education changes, all of these challenges that are on the horizon that face higher education and our school specifically. And if we remain content with the status quo, we will not be in a position to meet these challenges and to best serve our students, to prepare them to excel as leaders in the competitive legal market. But if all of us, acting together, aggressively anticipate, address, and meet these challenges head on, we not only survive, we thrive, while others struggle and fail. To be sure, there will be fits and starts, ups and downs, good days and bad days, and I know I will make mistakes. But these only serve to embolden us and cause us to redouble our efforts. So as we look back with fondness and commemorate what has been, and we celebrate the value of this school that is, today is a day when we collectively commit to the future of this difference-making school. We inspire each other based on our nearly century-long success in educating and producing difference makers, our graduates and ambassadors who epitomize that South Texas difference through their exceptional client advocacy in courtrooms, law firms, government agencies, companies, and nonprofits across this city, this state, and this country. Because today we stand at an inflection point. This day is important not because it is my investiture, but because it gives us a chance to step back and make a choice of the legacy we leave behind for the seventh generation. This philosophy causes us continually to look forward, to act in ways that strengthen our bond of community, to promote our stability, and to support all of our members. We must remain true to our missional values and adjust to the challenges on the horizon. A faith keeper of the Seneca tribe named Oren Lyons summarized it as follows: although the Haudensee practice ancient traditions, their culture is not frozen in the past. Their ability to adapt to dramatic change and survive on their own terms is historically proven because they are equally focused on the security of future generations, just like we are at South Texas College of Law, Houston. We can strengthen and protect the foundation laid by those visionary leaders who formed a law school in the basement of the Houston YMCA in 1923. And we do that by looking to the future. We do that by anticipating it. We do that by adapting to it. And we do that by leading it. I have always appreciated the line from Scripture, "To those whom much is given, much is expected." And today, standing here and hearing the kind words, I realize that I have been very richly blessed. And I look around this room, filled with practitioners, judges, alumni, faculty, staff, students, and I recognize that all of us have been richly blessed as well, in no small part because of our connection to South Texas College of Law, Houston. And most saliently, we all, not I, all of us, collectively have been handed the responsibility to carry forward the great mission and success of this college. And with this blessing comes the obligation to do so with humility, to do so with perseverance, and to do so with excellence. I hope, strike that, I am confident that you will join me in taking on this responsibility and this privilege to this great College of Law. I am honored and proud to be a member of the South Texas community, to be a part of the South Texas difference. Thank you for welcoming me into this family, and I look forward to working with you to leave a legacy that redounds for 7 generations and more. Thank you.
Dean Barry, thank you for sharing with us your conception of leadership and aspirations for the future. And ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me with your applause in welcoming Dean and President Michael F. Barry to the South Texas College of Law Houston family. Go ahead and please be seated. So before we adjourn, it's my responsibility to conduct a couple of pieces of business with you. The first is I'd like to ask the audience please to remain seated until after the recessional has exited the auditorium. And then the second is to remind you that we have a reception downstairs on the first floor, and to encourage you all to join us after the conclusion of the ceremony. You can make your way back downstairs the same way that you made your way here in reverse. So at this time, I'd like to ask the platform party please to rise. And for the faculty and our academic guests also to rise. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending.